Hey Bond fans, welcome back to the Bond Report. My name is Chris, aka the Bearded Blofeld. In this video, I'm going to be talking about three separate topics. We're going to be talking about announcements, then products, and projects. I'm going to provide timestamps below to get you closer to the report you care about the most. So without further ado, let's jump right into announcements. Back in March 26th, Amazon announced that we have our first two producers, Amy Pascal and David Heyman, famed producers in the industry, similar age to Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, which I thought was a little curious that they would go with people of the same age group, but their resumes speak volumes, so not mad about that. On June 26th, we get our director announcement. Denis Villeneuve, famed director of films like Sicario, Arrival, great movie, Blade Runner 2049, absolutely gorgeous. And of course, he's doing the third film in the Dune franchise, and those have been blockbuster successes. Not even 1 month later, we get our third announcement. July 31st, we find out we've got a writer for Bond 26. That's right, Stephen Knight. Famous writer, probably most known for Peaky Blinders, but he's also done SAS Rogue Heroes that has Jack O'Connell. And guys, if you haven't seen SAS Rogue Heroes, you are doing yourselves a grave injustice. It is a fantastic spy, almost documentary, but they add some fluff in there to make it more exciting. Great TV series. Be sure to check that one out. And he's writing this script with no actor in mind, which kind of plays to a benefit because he can be a little bit more open and go in directions that maybe if we knew who the actor was, might kind of pigeonhole him into certain expectations of that actor. James Bond products haven't disappointed either. We've had a variety of companies come out this year with some really great offerings for collectors and especially music lovers. But we're going to jump in first for the style guys out there. And one of the big ones that's been in the industry for the past couple years now is London Stock Exchange. And they launched and released their brand new set for GoldenEye, which obviously we are in an anniversary year this year of GoldenEye. So that makes perfect sense lining up with that film. Famed UK-based toy company and die-cast aficionados, Corgi, has released several new models in the James Bond lineup. Now, we've been getting the flip-top boxes now for the past probably a couple years or so, and they didn't disappoint. This year, we've seen the launch of the Spectre DB10 with the flip-top box. It's got an all-new paint job on it. That is actually my personal favorite James Bond car of all time. And then they also released the Norway version of the Triumph Scrambler 1200. Beautiful model. This one is the one that the villains actually ride on that are chasing Bond when he's in the Toyota. So it's got the brown leather seat. It's got mud splatter all over it. Love these little attentions to detail. Now, to add even more value, they're also including two different bundles. And the bundles are actually kind of nice. You save a little bit of money. For people who have been kind of eyeballing some of the No Time to Die vehicles, they've got a No Time to Die bundle now where you get the DB5 that's got the turret cannons coming out of the headlights with all the body damage. And then you also get the Q glider with this bundle. Then along with the Norway Triumph edition of the 1200 motorcycle, they are now doing a motorcycle 2-pack where you can also get the 1200 Bond edition, which was the edition that you could actually buy in the stores. It wasn't seen in the film, so this bike hasn't sold great for the company, which makes sense why they're bundling it with the Norway edition. But there is value to be had there if you like the motorcycles and you just want to display them. Scalextrics for all my slot car guys out there, and maybe you just like to collect the cars as well. We've got the man with the golden gun. That's right, the AMC Hornet. Now, this comes in a limited edition all gold color, as you can see here, and it's got that mirror chrome gold look to it as well. But if that flare is a little too much for you and you just want the standard red model, that model is also available. They've got quite a few things available right now, but that's the two new ones from Scalextric. Now, obviously, if you've been following my channel, you know that I love music, and La La Land Records has not disappointed at all this year. They have released hit after hit after hit, and this year we have gotten some special ones. We're going to start off. Obviously, we've had the Goldfinger vinyl gold edition. And guys, these were limited to 700 copies of the gold bullion that's available directly on their website. They're still available. So if you love vinyl, go grab one of these before they're gone, because at only 700 units, that's not a lot. I went ahead and got mine. Love it. Sounds great. But if vinyl isn't for you, I get it. We're in a modern digital age. Well, they've been releasing limited edition, remastered, and extended series of CDs over the past few years, and this year is no exception. Recently, we've had License to Kill come out. Amazing, amazing album. Got one of my favorite songs in the Bond franchise on it, with License to Kill, of course. More recently, we have also seen On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which might be one of the best scores we've ever gotten in a Bond film. John Barry knocked it out of the park. That's an expanded limited edition as well. And then the most recent one they've dropped was the Thunderball 60th Anniversary Edition, also expanded, also limited edition, gorgeous packaging. If you are a music aficionado, if you're an audiophile, these soundtracks are absolutely fantastic. It's a must have if you're collecting. And the most recent item we have to round out the summer for products is Upper Deck released their No Time to Die playing card set, or trading card set. This set includes autographs. It's got limited edition cards. It's got serial number cards. It's got patch cards. There is a wide variety of cards you can get in this set. Multiple signatures, Daniel Craig included, Ben Whishaw included, Naomi Harris included. So check these out. It is 100% just going to focus solely on No Time to Die. Okay, projects. So this year, we've had no shortage of announcements of new projects coming out. To kick things off, obviously, I think the biggest one we've seen this year has got to be the final release of Project 007, which now has a name that we all know, of course, which is First Light. This game was announced over the summer with a smash out trailer showing car chasing, action, villains, plot, characters, all kinds of things. They really went in on the trailer and sold it. Just more recently, we've had the announcement and the showing of the in-game actual gameplay and using the different mechanics. Clearly, this is based off of the Hitman series, World of Assassination. I think we all know that at this point, but the game really looks polished. We're seeing elements clearly of Bond, but we're also getting that Hitman kind of a vibe. It's going to be that third person perspective. It's looking like it's stacking up against some of the older greatest hits titles, like Everything or Nothing, 007 Bloodstone, where you've got that third person type of perspective in moments. The one thing I'm a little concerned about is the whole like License to Kill 007 action moment. So they're not letting you just run and gun if you want. Like you can't just pull a gun out and start blasting, which in these types of games is pretty reckless anyway. So I get that. But I also feel like I'm being handcuffed here, and I think this has to do with the producers with Eon. They're very kind of against violence. They actually did this with Cypher 007 on the Apple Arcade, the mobile game. I hope you played that game. If you haven't, it's 100% worth your time. I've gone through it several times. It's a lot of fun. And if you have it on your TV, like Apple TV, you can hook up like a Xbox or a PlayStation controller to it. That's a whole different experience right there. Try that out. With First Light, we've got a complete origin story. And I'm not going to beat a dog to death here because I know a lot of this information has already been out there for some time. But with this whole origin story, we've got a younger Bond. When it comes to the look of him, I don't really care. This isn't a canon Bond story. This is a this is one of the last things that Eon really has their hands in, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to seeing a cinematic style Bond. And I'm okay with it just being its own separate thing. Having said that, I love the fact that they put George's DBS in here. I don't care that it's gold, and I really hope that he keeps this car. But something tells me that that was just a nod. That car was there by happenstance, and it's not actually Bond's car. That he just kind of hijacked it for the mission. So I have a feeling we're going to get little nods like that throughout the game. Good thing is pre-orders are still available. They're pre-ordering for Xbox, PlayStation 5, Switch 2, and PC. And I think you can even do it on, I think it's Steam Deck or one of the other giant handheld PC portable docking stations. I personally went ahead and pre-ordered my Legacy Edition for PlayStation 5, which means I now have to buy a PlayStation 5. So if anybody hears of a good sale, let me know. But speaking of the pre-orders, they didn't disappoint either. We've got a legacy edition of the game that comes with a steel case. It comes with a magnet that says 007 that magnetizes to the steel case and kind of recesses in. Very cool little feature. Then you also get an amazing display of a life-size one-to-one golden gun. Now, I haven't seen the details. I've been looking for the breakdown of what this display is. Is it plastic? Is it metal? Can you remove the gun from the display stand? Because it even shows bullets lined up on it. I'm really hoping this is of higher quality because the base game is $70 plus tax. If you get the Legacy Edition, it's $299. So for that extra, I really, really hope that this golden gun is metal and it's something you can take out of this display stand and kind of, I mean, let's all be real. We're all going to play with it. I mean, that's just how that goes, right? We're fans, we're collectors. That's what we do. So I want to be able to pull it out and play with it a little bit because I don't own a full size golden gun. I have the small one that they got the prop editions from Factory Entertainment, and their scaled prop replicas are awesome too. But this one looks pretty legit so far. So fingers crossed, the Legacy Edition lives up to its name. Road to a Million Season 2. Okay, so before you turn off, guys, they did better this time around. I mean, come on. Road to a Million Season 1 had its challenges. We didn't know what to expect. It was going to be a game show. And there was some disappointments. There was some ups, there was some downs. We had everyday ordinary people in extraordinary moments. And to me, if you ask me, I think the show's exciting. I enjoy it a lot. There's all kinds of little nods to look out for, and they're trending in the right direction. Season 2 was a massive improvement. Is it perfect still? No. Does it need some work? Absolutely. And I think they trended in the right direction. So fingers crossed that season 3 is even better and they up the stakes a little more because I feel like that threat of danger or the loss of the money that maybe they've already won, it needs to be higher because they're banking money as they go, which is great, but it gives everybody that sense of security. And I feel like that sense of urgency just isn't there where it needs to be for the viewer. So we'll see what happens in season 3. And the most recent project announcement, of course, is Bond 26. Now, the article from Deadline just released the other day. We've got Breaking Baz, who is fairly reliable. He's considered to be a reliable source in the reporting community when it comes to leaks and early access to some things that could be coming true for movie announcements. So in this report, and I'm going to read some of it kind of verbatim, and we're going to kind of talk about this. Denis Villeneuve will embark on a search for an actor to play the world's most famous fictional spy, James Bond, next year when he completes production of Dune Part 3. So, when he completes production, is that post production? Is that filming? Kind of up in the air on that one, but we know that he wants to basically be done with Dune before he steps into Bond, which I think is a good thing because while, yes, we can and we have seen directors balance multiple projects at a time, I think it's just you get a better product, a better end result most of the time when you have a director's focus on one project at a time. So, fingers crossed that's the case. Those familiar with the matter tell us that the director and his collaborations are seeking a fresh face to take on the 007 mantle in Bond 26. Fresh face, you say? Something to be said there. And that is in quotations, fresh face. They're not messing around. These are snippet little details that we need to be paying attention to. And I'm going to get to that in a moment. We're going to keep going. Also, James Bond will be male, as written by creator Ian Fleming, and importantly, will be an actor who hails from the British Isles. So they clearly want James Bond to be a man, and they want him to be British. I'm all for this. I think this is the exact direction they should be going when thinking about this character because we don't need to rewrite the script. Helen Mirren actually went on record recently to say that James Bond 100% should be a man. That's who he is. So that rules out fanciful speculation that the likes of Timothy Chalamet, Glenn Powell, Austin Butler, Jacob Elordi, and a slew of others who don't hail from the UK, they're just not in the running anymore. So that pretty much wipes the slate clean. At this point, all the booking agents and the betting guys who've had money on who's going to be the next Bond, the slate just got wiped clean completely because now it's going to be somebody completely new. Now, those in the know tell us the ideal approach to cast an unknown, possibly in his late 20s or early 30s, to play what Fleming called a blunt instrument. The lethal but extremely dull, uninteresting man whom things happened. If that criteria is stuck to, that means favorites such as Tom Hardy, age 47, Idris Elba, age 53, and Henry Cavill, age 42, presumably will not be who Villeneuve goes for, as well as producers David Heyman and Amy Pascal. So they're not going to lean towards anybody who's been in the pool before. And considering the timeline of Bond 26, they're going to be shooting this in probably, I would say, begin shooting the end of 26, early 27. Both Aaron Taylor Johnson and Jack Lowden will be 37 years old at that point, which is a bummer because I think both of those guys would make a stellar Bond. But, and the article even says, in more of a question, will they be too old for Villeneuve? What do you think? Is 37 too old to come into the role for what they're looking to do? I don't know. I think if they're looking for another 15-year commitment, like we've heard in the past, 37 might be pushing it. And I can completely understand them wanting someone closer to that 30, 32 age. Really excited about the writer Stephen Knight, and I'll tell you why. Because if you've watched SAS Rogue Heroes, some of the fights, some of the action in that is just, it's really gritty, it's really dirty, it gets raw, it gets real, and they talk about that here in this article, and they bring up Peaky Blinders. Blinders is absolutely known for being very brutal, and it goes on to say Stephen Knight, whose work includes SAS Rogue Heroes, Peaky Blinders, and Eastern Promises, All of them feature kick-ass, bone-crunching scenes. Whoever it is has to look like he could kill you with his bare hands in a trice. So they're wanting somebody really gritty, rough and tumble, rugged, who can get in here and be that convincing assassin. The article continues to go on and says, online speculators and betting companies throwing out names without thinking who Bond is. Knight will be looking back at Fleming's earliest novels like Casino Royale, Live and Let Die, Moonraker, Diamonds Are Forever, From Russia with Love, Dr. No, and Goldfinger to help remind us who Fleming's protagonist is. I love this. Might the new Bond be more in the mold of a younger Sean Connery, who originated the 007 films? So that, I mean, if they can find a young Sean Connery to come in, someone who can play that, guys, I'm telling you, I'm still sticking with my prediction of who they're going to cast for Bond. And if you know who my prediction is, leave that in the comments as well. I'm not going to tell you. You got to watch my videos. You got to subscribe. Guys, if you're actually liking this video, give me a thumbs up. It actually goes so far. I cannot tell you how much the thumbs up helps in getting my videos out to other Bond fans. So I really appreciate that, and thank you for watching. Okay, we're going to continue on here. So there's a sense from many conversations I've had that Knight's going back to Bond's beginnings as a Royal Naval Commander. This gets me excited. Before being recruited by MI6, the UK's Foreign Intelligence Agency, to perhaps chart how Bond attains 007 status. This is giving us a different perspective of where Bond started, because I wouldn't mind seeing him in the Royal Navy. Let's see him in his dress stripes and his fatigues. I want to see these types of things because this is where he cut his teeth. This is where they broke him down and built him up to be the government assassin. This would lead perfectly into separating itself from Casino Royale while also setting up additional films that can be standalone films. And I really hope that we get back to standalone films. I don't mind a little continuity here and there, a name drop, a location mentioned, that's fine. But I think the whole we're all a little bit done with the overarching story that was Daniel Craig's era. I think we're ready to get back to standalone films. Let me know if you agree. So continuing on, it talks about and says, could Bond be played by a non-Caucasian? And it says, I asked sources. He could, came the reply. As always, well, nearly always, it'll come down to this. Are they right for Bond? Are they the right fit for the story that Villeneuve and screenwriter Knight will be telling? While we're here, it's worth pointing out the obvious. Bond 26 will not take up where No Time to Die, the final iteration of the franchise under Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, left us, with Bond dead. It's a new Bond, a new start, a fresh everything, is how it was put to me by a key source who adds that it's unlikely many associated with the past Bond regime will be involved with Bond 26. That said, I suspect a few old Bond hands might well be consulted on the quiet and in the snug of a private club in Pall Mall, London. A couple things here. We're talking about leaving the past in the past. Eon didn't sell this franchise to Amazon to continue on and try. I can see where coming on as a consultant, maybe Greg Wilson, Michael G. Wilson's son, he may step in as a consultant since he's been a producer for years as well. I could see them even reaching out to Barbara and her maybe stepping in and pointing out a few things, but what they choose to use is completely up to them. They are not bound by anything from the past 60 years. They're just not. I don't think we're going to lose things like the gun barrel. I don't think we're going to lose certain tropes, pre-title sequences, um, obviously song with a new artist coming in. There's certain things that make a Bond movie, and they didn't invest all this money just to take that formula and throw it out the window completely. They may polish it, they may change a few minor things here and there, but I think we're going to have most of the tropes. Now, touching on James Bond's race, this is a tough conversation to have. There's no way around it, guys. I have several friends of every color of the rainbow. I don't care what color you are. I don't. Um, I love everybody equally. There's there are good and bad people in every culture, in every race, and there's no way around that, including my own. This character for me was personally he was written as a Caucasian. Uh, I'm going to stand on that leg and say I think that should continue. I would love to see additional agents brought in under a variety of cultures, similar to what Kim Sherwood has done in her Bond book trilogy. 003, 006. Let's bring them in. We don't need to change the race of a character to make him cooler. He's cool because of who he is and what he does. Changing his race, changing his gender, this doesn't make him cooler. It just makes the studio, in a lot of people's opinion, mine included, it makes the studio look desperate to attract a different target audience. And there are better ways to go about that. And if you think I'm wrong, ask Disney how they're doing. You go woke, you go broke. It's just a fact. I'm saying it now. It is what it is. I welcome any number of cultures, actors, variety of skin tones to join the film franchise. Ian Fleming wrote Bond as a British white male. Let's just keep it at that and move on. Speaking of moving on, the article continues on to say unprecedented number of applicants have already sent in their pitch to play James Bond to the production. Every name you've heard of, and many you never have heard of, that well-placed mole revealed, we've been flooded. But understand that the casting process has not begun, and it won't until Denis finishes the Dune movie. So clearly this is on hold. We've got to get through Denis' current project and let the Dune franchise finish out before Bond becomes a thing. I think this is going to poise First Light. Perfect timing. I really do. I think we're going to get First Light at the beginning of 2026. We're going to have all that year to enjoy that game, process the reboot of the video game version, enjoy our time with that. And if you're not playing the game, I'm sorry, I get it. Video games just aren't for everybody anymore. They weren't for me for a long time. I completely skipped the PlayStation 4 generation just to see if I could. I've actually got a PlayStation 3 sitting right over there. It's still what I use to play all of my Bond movies on, all of my Blu-rays. So I get it. But with this process moving forward, we've got to wait it out. He's got to finish Dune. So until then, we're not going to see much. It goes on to say, it pays to remember that Craig, who, although famously for those of us who followed his career on stage and in independent Hollywood movies, was not a household name when he was picked to play Fleming's approved British government assassin. I know that Broccoli knew of Craig's theater history, but it wasn't until she saw Matthew Vaughn's Layer Cake, great movie, that she became convinced he should be cast for Casino Royale. British actors in their mid-20s and early 30s with stellar acting chops who fit the Bond mold are going to be under the intense spotlight for the next 12 months. James Bond is somewhere out there. Our sources indicate that the film will be released in 2028, with filming due to take place in 2027. So this brings up a couple good points. Obviously, we're going to be going through the longest drought of Bond movies ever. This is going to be, I mean, No Time to Die was in 2021. Yeah, 2021 to 2028. We are talking 7 years. And really going back to 2019 when it was supposed to release. So we're going on 9 years. Yeah, that's a long time, guys. And I feel like this drought has really hurt the franchise in the sense of its marketability to a new crowd, because kids today, they don't know who Bond is anymore. They don't. They're not familiar with it. First Light is going to help. And I'm hoping that First Light puts us in a good position to where we are marketing to that crowd, because the greatest thing about this community is, for one, it keeps thriving, even though we haven't had a movie or won't have a movie for 9 years almost. But it's growing, and it's growing with positive people, and we're constantly interacting. It's taught us how to survive without content. We don't need a new movie. We don't need a new TV show every other year to get excited about Bond, because we've got 60 years worth of entertainment. Unlike some of your newer franchises where you don't. And they're so interconnected, it almost feels like homework to figure out, well, wait, when can I watch this one? Because if I haven't seen this one, then I won't understand that one. And that's the joy about Bond, is you can watch them completely out of order, Daniel Craig films aside. Well, almost all of them. You can watch them almost all out of order, and it wouldn't matter because they're their own standalone adventures. And I think that really is a strength and a testament of the franchise, that we can continue to rewrite and re-experience these films year after year and enjoy them with new friends and a new community. So you let me know, guys. This has been my report, my recap of summer of 2025. I haven't had time to make a ton of videos talking about some of these topics, so I wanted to sit down and kind of wrap it all into one nice package, and here you go. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you got to the end of the video, leave me a gold heart down below. Let me know you made it all the way to the end of the video. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, Merry Christmas, 007.